So the PlayStation Portal is out in about 2.5 months, that being on November 15th. And Sony opened pre-orders on their direct PlayStation website, so you just order straight from them. I wasn't sure if they would have pre-orders open at different retailers like Amazon and so on, but apparently they did open those. And something interesting happened that I think surprised many people on social media and stuff. The Portal actually started selling out across the board, and it kind of left people with a lot of questions as to how the PlayStation Portal will end up doing in the long run. And I figured we would go over that here today. So if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure that like button and subscribe if you're new here to the SpawnWave Plus channel. We can head over here. This is on PlayStation Lifestyle. It said the PlayStation Portal pre-orders sold out in Japan. And a lot of this comes from Genki, who I believe translated another post over on Twitter or X. So here we can see a bunch of retailers in Japan, like Amazon Japan, Rakuten Books, Big Camera, and so on, where they did get stock and then it sold out rather quickly. Now, there are many aspects to this, a lot of factors. For example, there is still a scalping issue going on in Japan, where a lot of PS5 systems are being bought and then shipped out to other countries to sell. I believe in China, it's pretty popular to sell them well above sticker price there. But still, I mean, the PS5 is being bought by people in Japan who just want the system. And the Portal, while I'm sure people are buying it to then ship it out and sell it elsewhere, it is something that you figure would at least appeal to the Japanese audience, who definitely enjoys their handheld systems. Now, the one difference here with the PlayStation Portal is it's not a dedicated handheld device, and I categorize it more as a controller with a screen that just connects to your PS5, and it needs that system in order to work correctly. It's not a PSP or a Vita that just happens to have remote play. It's like the sole functionality for it. And I think this started to catch some people off guard with all these sellouts happening, especially, at least for me, when it started to sell out on Amazon US. And this is something that has like the #1 bestseller tag and all of that. But the other day, stock came back in for this listing, and then it went right back out. And it's back to the point where it's asking if you want to add yourself to a list so that they can notify you when more come back in stock. And I do wonder if this is a situation where Sony is being a bit more conservative with how many of these they're providing to different retail stores and whatnot, especially in Japan, where we know Sony is taking... They have less and less focus on the Japanese market and more being put on the Western market. But you figure then Amazon US would have a pretty substantial amount of PlayStation Portals to sell, unless Sony genuinely just wants to really sell the most units through the direct PlayStation site. That would make sense. But if you look at the Amazon bestsellers list, it's been fluctuating all over the place. At one point, it was like in the top 8, I think. Now it's back down to number 21, which can happen clearly when you don't have any more to sell and it's all sold out there. But like, it's just ahead of the Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. I mean, you can see like Mario Bros. Wonder is up here at number 5. The top 3 or 4 typically on Amazon are just gift cards. It's for each platform. Then there's like a random Roblox gift card somewhere in there every time. But the thing that I was interested in was that the PlayStation Portal, it's ahead of PS5 DualSense controllers, Xbox Elite controllers, regular Series X controllers, the Nintendo Switch Pro controller. And again, I categorize this more as an accessory, not a system. So in that case, for that category, it's doing pretty well. It is behind the Xbox Core wireless controller, the Shock Blue one, but it's ahead of everything else. So I feel like the PlayStation Portal it's surprising some people right now because of this performance. And I do wonder what kind of message this would send to Sony. I think a lot of people right now are hoping that Sony would someday be able to develop a handheld PlayStation system that can play games on its own and is not reliant on a wireless connection. And maybe Sony starts to realize that there is still a market for a device like this that isn't necessarily just remote play, but I also wonder if they're looking around realizing the technology isn't quite there yet to get it within a certain price point and a certain performance threshold. But I wouldn't be shocked with how we are seeing these low-power chips, these mobile chips, continue to evolve at a rapid pace that maybe next generation Sony takes a swing at it, especially with the kind of diminishing returns we're seeing now and how everyone, for the most part, I'll say everyone, seems fine with 4K as like the roof resolution, which we're still trying to work to where that is basically conquered at this point. 8K feels way off in the distance if we ever really feel the need to get there in the first place. So maybe we will get there at some point, and maybe this is a way for Sony to look and see how many people are interested in playing their PlayStation 5 off your big screen TV. I just don't think Sony wants to split up their developers, kind of how they did with the PSP and the Vita, where you're developing either for those handheld systems or their home console. It's a lot easier to just say, you know what, it plays the same. Either one, maybe on the mobile device, they'll pull back some of the visuals and stuff. But I think that's where they would want to get to before they even take a shot at another handheld or even conceptualize it, anything like that. But the PlayStation Portal, I mean, the reason I picked it up, obviously, because on this channel, we'll check it out, we'll take it apart, we'll kind of go over how it performs and how it feels to use and all of this. But you know, the idea of remote play has always been intriguing to me. I did use it somewhat on the PSP and a bit on the Vita as well. And I think it was just a cool idea back then to be able to play your PS3 on a handheld device. And yeah, it was very sketchy at that time with the PSP and the PS3 not having like the best wireless connections in the first place. But the wireless connections have evolved over time, and I am interested to see how the PlayStation Portal specifically functions, connected to a decent router and all of this, and how it really feels to use, considering it is basically a DualSense controller split in half with a screen directly in the middle. So interesting stuff there. And yeah, we'll keep an eye on this, but I don't think we're ever going to find out sales for this, considering it's going to be categorized as a controller, and even sales charts typically just do systems and software. Now, the way we could find out some information, get kind of an idea as to how it's trending, is the MPD. They typically will at least give an idea as to how accessories are doing, and that's how we find out that the DualSense controller, which is the same price as the PlayStation Portal, is the best-selling accessory in the US for the year so far. So yeah, it's possible they come out and say, okay, the PlayStation Portal placed here for accessories for the month, or maybe for the fourth quarter or something, just to give us an indication as to how it's selling. But I will also say, I'm noticing that more and more people that originally weren't going to buy it have been like, I just picked it up. We'll see how it does. Because, again, I think it's very intriguing to people to be able to play their PS5 games off their big screen TV, especially now with like football season back on and stuff, to be able to sit there and play your PS5 game there, the handheld system, and then also have the game up on the TV is it sounds like a fun way to go about things. But let me know what you guys think about this one down below, with the PlayStation Portal seemingly selling out as it becomes available. Are you surprised by its early performance? And did you pick one up? Thanks, guys, for watching, and I'll see you next time.